This is lesson 2-6, solving compound inequalities. Compound means that we have two simple inequalities combined by the words and or. The way this looks when we graph them, if you look at my first one here in black, x is greater than 2 and x is less than 6. So if we have our number line with 2 and 6, then we would have open circle at 2 because it's not equal to. We'd also have an open circle at 6 for the same reason. And if it's greater than 2, it's going this direction. If it's less than 6, it's going this direction. And so notice they kind of crash into each other. They intersect. Okay, so the intersection is with the and statement. And a little play on words here. We have intersection instead of intersection. Just a way you can remember it. Okay, next one we have same thing again with our 2 and our 6. This time on our number line it's greater than or equal to 2. So that means we need a closed circle. And it's going to the greater than, so it's going to go to the right. And the less than or equal to for the 6 is going to go to the left. And so again, because we had and, this is an intersection. The lines are going to collide or intersect. And so again, we can think of intersection. When we have the word and, it's going to be an intersection. Okay, for our or statement, this is 2, 6 again. This time x is less than 2, so it's going to be going in this direction. Okay, I'm going to make that arrow a little bigger so we can see it. And then x is greater than 6. Open circle because it's not equal to. Make that bigger as well. Okay, and so this is my or statement. It's going in opposite directions. You can think of it as this kind of or, an or on a boat. If you draw a little boat in here, use your imagination. And these are my oars coming off of my boat. There you go. Got a little sailboat. All right, next one. Another or statement. So this one should look like oars again on a boat. So we have 2 and 6. This is less than or equal to, so closed circle. Going to the less than side, left. And then x is greater than or equal to 6, going to the right-hand side. So this is just what the graphs will look like. Okay, for this word problem, there's some key words that we need to be careful of when using compound inequalities. This word problem says a water analyst recommends that the pH level of swimming pool water be between 7.2 and 7.6 inclusive. Between and inclusive means it's actually going to include those numbers. So that gives us a hint that we're going to need for this problem. Greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. I said those backwards. Sorry, I shouldn't have said it that way. This is our less than or equal to. This is our greater than or equal to. I don't want to confuse you, by the way. I just said it backwards. Okay, write a compound inequality to show the pH levels that are within the recommended range and graph the solutions. So if it's between 7.2 and 7.6, that means that x is going to be greater than and inclusive, or including, 7.2. And x is also going to be less than or equal to 7.6. Now the way that I write a compound inequality is I start with the smallest value, 7.2. X is going to be in the middle, and 7.6. Now since this is an intersection, they're going to be in between the two numbers. That means that we're going to have the less than symbol. And again, you can think of it as less than. Just a little play on words there. The and is going to be the less than. Okay, so it's going to be less than or equal to. Also, if you flip this inequality around, we get 7.2 is less than or equal to x, which is what we want. And now we're just combining. 7.2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 7.6. So this is just a rewritten version of what I have above here. And then to graph that, we're going to be at 7.2 and 7.6. And it's going to be greater than or equal to 7.2, so going this way, and less than or equal to, so I have my closed circles here, less than or equal to 7.6. Okay, if I ask you to solve the compound inequality and graph my solution, we should already know that this graph is going to look like an intersection because of the less than symbols. Remember, less than. So when I solve this, what's happening in here is x plus 2 is a shared quantity. It's in between the 4 and the 8. So what's in the middle here is a shared quantity. So let me highlight this. Not with that color, sorry. We'll highlight the x plus 2. And that amount is going to be shared for both of my inequalities. So I'm going to write my two inequalities. I'm going to have 4 is less than or equal to x plus 2. And then I'm going to have the x plus 2 is less than or equal to 8. And so this x plus 2 is the same as what's highlighted up above. It's being used twice because it's in between these amounts. And so then we just solve like normal. So I'm trying to isolate my x. Oops. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. And 2 is less than or equal to x. Or you can also write that as x is greater than or equal to 2. And then here, minus 2, because we should have our variable first. X is less than or equal to 6. And so now, if you just squish these two, let me see if I can actually move them. No such luck. Okay. So if I just combine these two answers here, let's combine those so I can get my combined compound inequality answer. 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 6. This is my answer. Now to graph that, it may be more helpful to use that x is greater than or equal to 2 when graphing. I know I have 2 and 6 that I need. If it's greater than or equal to 2, it's going to be this way, and less than or equal to 6. And there's my intersection that I said I'd have because of my less than symbols. Okay, this one's a little more obvious that it's an or statement because of the word or that's right in the problem. So that the and problems, the intersection, doesn't have the and, it just has a combined quantity inside the inequality symbols that we share and write two inequalities for. This one already has our two inequalities for us. So we can just go ahead and solve our inequalities. So I'm adding 4 to both sides. I got a is greater than 5, or, so we keep our or symbol there. A is less than 1. Be careful of our rules of negatives when doing this. And so when I graph this, I have my 5 and my 1, because I want to go in order of the number line would be. And it said A is less than 1, so it's not equal to, so it's open circle. Notice my ORs, O-A-R. And then greater than 5. So again, it's going out like an OR. So the OR statements will always, the OR inequalities, compound inequalities, will always look like the oars on a boat going outwards. We also need to be able to write our own inequality by looking at a graph. And so the reason why I came up with those words intersection with the and, to help you know that the less than is going to be an and statement, because just looking at this, I already know this is going to be an and. Oops, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong picture. Let's move that down. So I know this is going to be an and because it's an intersection. Should actually look at my pictures. Sorry about that. And this is going to be an or because, like I told you, it looks like oars on a boat, O-A-R. All right, so when I write this, the oars aren't as bad to write. We just have x is less than or equal to because of the closed circle. So that gave me my less than or equal to symbol, plus it's going to the left, less than. So less than or equal to -1. And on the right, here's my greater than symbol, right on that arrow. So x is greater than or equal to, because of the closed circle, 7. And so I need my or in between to show that that was an or statement. For the compound, so we have our two inequalities that we're going to write first. We have x is greater than or equal to 0, closed circle at 0, and it's going to the right, so that's why I have my greater than symbol. And for the 6, it's open, so it's going to be less than 6. And so to write that, we start with our smallest value, which is 0, and we always want to have the less than symbols. So I've flipped my x is greater than or equal to 0 to 0 is less than or equal to x. I just flipped that around. And so that's what I have written in blue below it. And then I just continue. I don't need to write x again. It's shared. X is less than 6.